Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive.
Yeah.
And today we're diving deep, as always, into the always fascinating world of energy markets.
Oh, yeah.
You sent over some articles about this really interesting trend that we've been watching. And we're seeing American LNG tankers changing course, like right in the middle of their voyage.
Wow.
They're diverting from where they were initially headed to go to Europe.
Interesting.
And some of them are even making, like, multiple sharp turns.
Oh, wow.
It's like they're playing a game of, like, maritime musical chairs out there on the ocean.
Yeah, it's quite a sight to see on these maps when you're watching these massive tankers suddenly make these like really dramatic moves.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, there's actually a very logical reason for it.
Right.
But it could be concerning as well.
Yeah, one of the articles that we have is from the Financial Times, and they mentioned at least 7 U.S. tankers
Wow.
that were initially going to a bunch of different places all across the globe,
Uh-huh.
Africa, Asia, even Colombia.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they just made like a beeline straight for Europe.
Well, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and I think before we get into like the why of all of it, maybe
yeah.
we should kind of level set a little bit.
Sure.
I mean, for anybody out there who's not like super immersed in the energy world, what exactly are we talking about when we say LNG?
Yeah, that's a great point because, LNG stands for liquefied natural gas.
Right.
And it's basically natural gas, but it's been cooled down to a liquid state,
Okay.
which makes it a lot easier and a lot safer to transport in those giant tankers that we were just talking about.
Right.
And so LNG has become like a really big deal in global energy trade because it offers this flexibility that like pipelines just don't have.
Right. And it's interesting because you've got these like giant ships
Yeah.
full of this liquid fuel, and they're making these sudden U-turns
Right.
in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
And there's a pretty clear picture that this is a volatile market.
It absolutely is a volatile market, and the Financial Times article actually quoted an LNG market analyst, and this analyst called these maneuvers unusual. So this is not typical.
Not business as usual.
This is not business as usual.
Definitely not.
What we're seeing is like a direct result of this energy crisis that's happening in Europe,
Right.
especially since Russia has like really reduced their gas flows going through Ukraine.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense, but I'm guessing there's got to be more to it than just that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what's making Europe so desperate for this LNG, to the point that these tankers are like changing their course so dramatically?
Well, basically, Europe is in like this perfect storm of challenges when it comes to energy.
Okay.
So when Russia cut back on the gas flows, it exposed a real vulnerability in their energy supply.
Uh-huh.
And they want to replace that Russian gas with LNG.
Right.
But they have some limitations.
Okay.
First of all, the infrastructure that they need to like receive and process LNG isn't as developed as it needs to be.
Oh, I see.
And then on top of that, they're also competing with buyers in Asia
Oh, right.
who are also really eager to get their hands on LNG.
It was like a bidding war.
Yeah.
Really? For energy.
Yeah.
On a global scale.
Absolutely.
And these tankers are like the pawns in this whole game.
Exactly.
And the Financial Times article even mentioned that this is all being driven by the spot market for LNG.
Yeah.
So what does that even mean?
So basically, the LNG market kind of operates on these two levels.
Okay.
There's long-term contracts, and then there's the spot market.
Got it.
And the long-term contracts, those provide like some stability.
Okay.
But the spot market, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
It's like the Wild West of energy trading.
Oh, wow.
Because the prices are constantly going up and down based on like immediate supply and demand.
Wow. So it's like super unpredictable.
It is unpredictable. And right now, the spot market is like red hot.
Okay.
European gas prices are like skyrocketing.
All right.
So traders can make a lot more profit
Right.
by sending their tankers over to Europe,
Wow.
even if it means that they have to break contracts that they already have.
Oh, so there's like penalties involved.
There are penalties, but they're willing to pay them
Wow. That's crazy.
because the profits are just so high.
Yeah. So this raises the question of like who ends up footing the bill for all of this?
Right. That's the real concern here.
Yeah.
Because in the short term, the traders are making a ton of money.
Yeah.
But it's very likely that all these price increases are going to eventually trickle down to everyday people. And that means higher energy bills, both in Europe,
Right.
but potentially all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And we're already seeing energy bills go up around the world.
Yeah.
So this could make things even worse.
Wow. And you mentioned earlier that there's like competition from Asian buyers.
Yeah.
So like what happens to those regions that were like expecting these LNG shipments.
Right.
It seems like they're kind of left high and dry.
Yeah, unfortunately they are.
Wow.
The article doesn't really go into detail about the specific impacts on these regions,
Yeah.
but it's probably safe to say that this sudden shift in supply is going to create problems for them too. It could lead to their own energy shortages and even more price increases.
Yeah, I mean, this whole situation, it just highlights how the global energy market,
Yeah.
it's like this giant interconnected web.
It really is,
You tug on one strand over here,
Yeah,
and the whole thing vibrates.
exactly.
Yeah, so for everyone listening out there, this isn't just a story about ships changing direction.
Right.
This is a window into like the super complex and often volatile world of energy,
Yeah.
where geopolitics and economics and even the weather can like send these shock waves across the entire planet.
Absolutely. And, while the focus right now is on Europe's energy crisis, the situation really has like bigger implications. It raises all these questions about energy security and reliance on fossil fuels and the need for more sustainable solutions for the long term.
Right. And it makes you wonder, are we just seeing a temporary reaction to this crisis?
Yeah,
Or is this the start of a whole new era of global energy dependence?
that's the question.
That's a really good question. Something for everyone to think about as we navigate this crazy world of energy in the future.
Definitely.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.